Hi and welcome to another Career Stories podcast. My name's Joe.
And I'm Carrie.
We are careers advisors for Skills Development Scotland, if you didn't already know this. And this podcast we use to give you the opportunity to speak to, or for us to speak to, people in their role and what they're doing. And today we are joined by the British Army. We have Craftsman Lee Sinclair and Corporal John Haxton. Now, usually we have started in the past find a bit about like your school journey and stuff, and I'm not going to say we're not going to get there because we might still go back to that, right? But what we wanted to do is break the ice with quite an easy question, which is just tell us a bit about your very first job, right? So what you did is your very first job, and what did you buy with your first wage?
Yeah.
When you go, mate.
It's just, you're like, that was a while away from
My very first job was when I was 17 years old. I was still in high school at the time, and it was as a track marshal for a go-karting track. So my entire job was all revolved around safety, making sure all the carts were in check, waving the right colour flags in the right point of the race. It was a small job. It was only part-time because I had to manage school and working there. So I was working mostly in the evening times and some weekends. And my first wage for that, I was, being a kid, I spent on gaming on my PlayStation 4 at the time. So.
As someone of potentially similar age, maybe a bit older, what game did you buy? That is the question.
You're thinking very far back now.
We've lost it.
It was probably, knowing that at my age and the nerdy type of kid I was, it was probably something on Minecraft. It was probably a texture pack.
Nice.
He's younger than us.
Definitely younger. That's what gave it away.
That's what gave it away. There was no Minecraft when I was spending my first paycheck.
I do think, though, you may have topped the first jobs. Though that's right up there, I would say.
I went to a go-karting for the first time over the Christmas break, and my stepson managed to get absolutely like rear-ended and taken off the track, and they're like, right, somebody needs to come and get him.
Woman.
Did his dad come off the track? No. I came off the track and went and stood, and his dad finished his race. I'm like,
that was very responsible of you.
He's like, because I'm like, did you see it happen? He was like, I was right behind him. Just leave him to it. So yeah, that was my first experience, and it was awful. I was really bad.
It is a really exciting job to do, and the only reason I think I left is because I was like, I need a full-time job now for like school. But I would have kept going if it was a full-time position.
Exactly.
What about yourself?
Me, mine was quite a while back now. I worked in British Home Stores as a like part-time, like Christmas, like a Christmas hire, like Christmas assistant, just like stacking shelves and filling the Christmas department up with, I don't know if anyone remembers British Home Stores, but then...
Yes.
Do you know what I love? You said that, you went, I'm not that old, and now you're saying, does anybody remember Home Stores?
It was quite a while ago. I started in there as a Christmas temp, just kind of whilst I was still at school and college, just stacking the shelves, and then worked in the lighting department, selling lights. And
Brilliant. The best
bathroom stuff and all that sort of stuff, but no, it was good.
Brilliant.
What did you get with your salary? Do you remember like your first wage come in, what you bought?
I'm not going to lie, it was a while ago, but it'd have probably been like clothes or something, like maybe like a G-Star jeans or like maybe like Lacoste tracksuit or something.
Yeah. Honestly, I remember that. I think I remember the last day I binned my last pair of G-Star jeans and was like, it's an end of an era here.
I don't think I ever, like, were G-Star jeans just for boys? Because I don't think I ever had. Mine was like, it was like Top Shop that was the girl thing for me.
It was probably our designer gear at the time, I would say. Like 80 quid a top and stuff, 90 quid a top.
Yeah.
It's quite a big thing back in the day.
You were ranked based on your weight.
Yes, exactly.
Amazing. Sorry, well, thank you very much. So obviously, it'd be good to get to know your current roles a wee bit more and kind of your journey into the army as well. So what is it you're currently doing at the moment? What's your role, and a wee bit about how you got there?
My role is a field section commander, but basically I'm a corporal in the Royal Engineers. I kind of manage a team of 10 lads in my section. In the troop, there's around maybe 30, 40 of us, so it's broken into like 3 sections. So there's another two guys, similar rank to me, but that's kind of my title as such. Day-to-day stuff on camp. Do you want?
Yeah, no, that'd be good.
Just a wee bit about that role.
A lot of it's like servicing our equipment. We have a thing called a G10. Basically, that's where we keep all like stores and kind of mission critical kit. So you're like servicing that, making sure that's good to go. And then it's when there's kind of like downtime, then we'll go and take the lads and train the lads on the equipment. I'd be here for ages if I was to list how much stuff was in it, but like we've got a lot of like machinery tools, we've got like breaching equipment, we've got demolition stores, I could go into it, but different days we'll get different sort of stuff out, go and train on the kit, just make sure everyone's like current and competent. Because there's a constant like cycle of like new people coming in, people going in courses, trade courses, so you're constantly like refining the lads' training and just making sure everyone's kind of up to scratch and up to a level like where they need to be.
Nice. And I'll be honest and say I'm definitely a novice when it comes to ranking, right? I'm not going to pretend I know like a lot about it, right? But I'm guessing that wasn't your first role, so have you done things before? What was your jobs before?
In the engineers, it's you're like a private, so the equivalent to a private is a sapper.
Right, okay.
It kind of comes back from the French. It's like a French term back in like World War One. So yeah, sapper's the equivalent to a private, and then basically you turn up at the right time with the right kit, and you just do as you're told.
Yep.
You don't really speak, you just do as you're told. But yeah, so you just be doing all the kind of mundane stuff when you first get there. Is like you're the newest guy in the troop, and obviously you've got a lot of learning to do, because obviously you get belt fed training when you go through like phase 1. Obviously trained as a soldier first, then you go to the phase 2 for an engineer, which is down south at Gibraltar Barracks, which is near probably Reading, like kind of nearest kind of big place. You'll do your combat engineer training down there, and then phase 3 you then go to Chatham, which is the Royal School of Military Engineering, where you do your trade specific training. So for me, I'm traded as a carpenter and joiner, also as a combat engineer and as a soldier. So you'll do all that, and then you'll then get posted to like your actual regimental posting. So for me at the moment, which is like Kinloss Barracks, which is up the north of Scotland and near Moray or Inverness, probably the biggest like kind of place that people might know of. So you just, once you turn up, you just start kind of getting into amongst the kit and equipment, tools, things like that.
God, I've never felt so inferior in my life. See, like all the things you can do already, and I'm like, we were talking earlier, and like DIY and even practically, I am hopeless at. So when I hear like how experienced you are, I'm like, right, cool. Please don't be as experienced, right? We'll make me feel bad. But no. And what about you then? So what's your role now currently, and then obviously like your journey? I know we've talked. It's only been a couple of years for you.
So I am an armourer for the Royal Electronical Mechanical Engineers. My day-to-day job is fixing and maintaining weapon systems. So that can be anything from a handheld rifle to something mounted on a vehicle. We also deal with the sights, launchers, everything you can possibly think of. It's a very technical role. The best way to put it is we like to take stuff apart and put them back together, which I absolutely love, and that's why I got into the role. Our training, you start off like every soldier, phase 1 soldier, 13 weeks was how long mine was for. And when you get to phase 2, everyone in the REME all goes down south near Oxford area to a place called Lynham, and that's a defence college. My course specifically was 38 weeks long, and it was learning. You started off with learning maths, English, science, and then engineering skills such as technical drawing, metalsmithing, welding, and then you get led into learning about the weapons, and each one is week by week. You learn to take it apart, put it together, do assessments on it, so you know them in detail. So once you get to unit, you've then got a good understanding, a basis understanding. And then, so when you pass out, you're a class 3, which is what I am right now, class 3 craftsman. My rank is a craftsman's equivalent as a private. And I work for a 3 to 2 book is what we call it. So class 3 to 2, and that's sort of your progress, and you check off everything you would have done during the 30 weeks in the Army College. And every little bit that you do, that'll get signed off, and it works towards you then becoming a class 2, which at the end of that, you'll do a presentation. If everything's approved, everything's ticked off, you become a class 2. Which the difference between the classes, a class 3, they do their work, but they'll have to have someone watch them to make sure they're doing everything right. It's not putting anyone in danger. And then as a class 2, that means you don't have to be watched, but a class 1 starts to sign you off and make sure, because that's the top you can be, and they know everything. Class 2, that's kind of based on what your higher ups kind of see you do, and then they'll recommend you to be a class 1. And that's so you get sent back to Lynham, and that's it's a shorter course, it's 3 months, but it's really intense.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to show that you've mastered everything it comes to be an armour, and that allows you to sign off and watch what other people do.
Your job?
What I love about this is like when you look at like a lot of people that we're supporting in school that are interested in the forces, and you're looking at all the training parts, and it's like it's 13 weeks here, it's 30 weeks here, it's this, that, and next thing. And actually, like when you put that together, that's basically a year. Like, but it doesn't sound as long when it's in weeks, does it? But then you know it's a long time, and it must be quite intense. And obviously, a lot of people have never been away from home before, so suddenly you're in this sort of situation, and you're with all these different people and learning, but you should you are all in the kind of same boat. You are all learning together.
It's been together.
Yeah, definitely. Amazing.
The engineers is similar. So you've got that's mechanical. Like Remy's the mechanical side. Engineers is more like trade specific. So if you think of like carpentry, joinery, plumbing, sparkies, and then you've got like we have like signal trades. You've got driver, driver trades. There's draftsmen. Off the top of my head, more or less covered them all. So it all comes together and makes like one sort of like full machine, and then obviously each different cat badge have got their own specialities. But like the trade wise, like my first part of my training was 6 months. So that's like your class 2 traded C and J. And then you go back to your unit. And then you're kind of like the apprentice as such, even though it's only 6 months. Like I know apprenticeship's like 3 years for a joiner, but 6 months, it's a crammed 6 month. You'll go back, maybe do another year and a half at your regiment, and then a calling notice will come in, and you'll be like, right, you're due to go and do your class 1, which is like the kind of step up. You'll go back down to Chatham at the kind of military school engineering. You'll do another 6 months, and then that's you like fully signed off, and then you get like a level 3 in carpentry and joinery. Obviously the kind of qualifications slightly different to what it would be as a captain joiner on like Civvy Street, but that's like the military equivalent.
I mean, it's still good though. Like we were talking about this before as well. There's certain qualifications that I don't know about you, if you've ever, obviously you probably never need anybody to come to your house, but if you've ever brought a joiner in your house, I've never asked him what qualifications he's got. It's just all based on the ability part of it as well. So like you say, if the army is something you do for your whole life, great. If it's not, and you do decide to come out and stuff, you obviously get so many transferable skills that you can then put into everyday life, which is seems pretty attractive to a lot of people who maybe are still trying to discover what they want or where they want to go. Obviously, you'd mentioned that you 7 years you've been there so far. What did you do previously to that?
So I spent most of my time in like retail. Like I started in British Home Stores many moons ago, and then I kind of finished college, tried to get an actual joinery apprenticeship back then, but that was like 2008-9 when the market crashed, so like a lot of apprentices get paid off. I ended up going full-time British Home Stores, stuck that out for maybe like 4 years or something like that, and then I worked for Office Shoes on Buchanan Street, and then I moved to like House of Fraser and kind of was a concession manager for Office Shoes in there. Done that and then went down to Leeds. This goes a bit.
That's good. It's good to know though, because I think ultimately, like when it comes to careers, especially for our job, right? In case you don't, we're in school all the time, right? So our job is to try to kind of motivate and like support people to make the right decision, but also we understand that career journeys can go like this, and sometimes kids think it's going to be you leave job, that's your job and that's you forever. It's good to hear stories like this that ultimately that might not be the case, but what you've found is obviously a career now that you've been in for a while and enjoying, so keep telling your story.
So I've kind of missed a bit, so I come back 2013. I come back from a boys' holiday with my mates, and I was like, I can't do another year in House of Fraser. And then through like going to meetings and area meetings and stuff in Edinburgh, I kind of got mates with the boss that obviously ended up taking me down to Leeds for like the assistant manager job in the office shop in Leeds. Done that, and then he left after 3 months. I was like, oh yeah, great.
Cheers for that.
He went and they were opening up a big Nike, like a big factory shop, a big Nike factory store, and then he took me to be like footwear manager there. and then I stuck that out for 4 years. But I tried to apply for the army in 2013, and I get referred for like a kind of medical reason. That was coming to the end of like the Afghanistan campaign. So basically, they made it in terms of like joining the medical. They tightened up a lot of stuff because they were going through like payoffs and things like that. So they made it a lot harder to get in. So that was, I found out once joining, that's why I kind of struggled to get in back then. That was the actual reason for it. But so fast forward like, because I had to be 4 years clear of, basically it was I had eczema and they were like dead strict on it. Fast forward 4 years and then I could reapply, and then I was like, if I don't do it now, because I was like around, what would have been, 26, 27 off the top of my head, I'm getting to that point where you need to, it's now or never sort of thing. And then was like, I need to do it.
It's good to know about like the medical thing, because it's one bit we talk about, like, there's so many different processes, and like you could get to the point where you feel you've done everything, and then you feel a medical and something you didn't know was a major issue at the time, and you know, these are things you can't obviously necessarily prepare for or account for, but why the army though? So like you mentioned you wanted to join a while back, why did you end up there?
I've always had an interest in it. I had mates, my mates were in like the Royal Regiment of Scotland. My best friend who's getting married this year, Fraser, he was the Royal Marines Commando. So I've kind of been in and around it, and then my grandpa was also a Royal Marines Commando. So I've kind of always just had a bit of an interest in it. When I originally wanted to join obviously the Royal Regiment of Scotland, which is an infantry unit. But obviously growing up over the 4 years and stuff, I kind of looked at it of a sort of different perspective. It was like, if I get a trade, then you know, I might be more deployable once I leave the army. My brother is a joiner as well, and he reminds me that he'd never hire me. but you can go so many different options. Like you can get other different quals and stuff through the engineers. You can go into like site management, and there's so many different kind of avenues. It doesn't need to just be that said trade that you're qualified in. So that was my kind of thinking of.
Makes sense. Huh?
And see, like obviously you had an idea. You wanted to join the forces and you wanted to be in the army. How does the actual reality compare to what you thought it would be?
It's kind of like there or thereabouts, to be honest with you. Like,
so you had it quite spot on.
there's good, well, obviously I've had like mates in, so I've kind of like got a bit of like info for them and things like that. But it's like any job. It's like what, especially in this, it's what you kind of make of it. Like you could say yes to everything and you could go everywhere, or you can be that guy that says no to everything and be stuck on camp and be a bit of a Debbie Downer and not enjoy it. Or you can say like yes, and you can go and, not going to say you're going to see the whole world, but you can travel to a lot of places that you'd never go in like a civilian job. And then like the teams that you work with, and then like the lads that you work with, like it's so different from, because a lot of lads join from school, like, and obviously you're quite young yourself, but like working on civilian street and working in the army, and it's two very different things, and like the kind of bonds in that you make with your mates is just like it's unreal. Brilliant. Definitely. I'm sure you can vouch for that probably already.
And what about you? So obviously you mentioned you might be slightly younger, so you're quite new to the was it 2 years you said? So like what was your decision to kind of move into the army then?
So I made the decision myself a very, very long time ago actually. I was probably about 12, 13 when I originally decided I wanted to go for it, because my dad, he was in the army, he was RLC. My granddad was in the army as well, he was Gordon Highlanders, so I've always had that idea of going to do it, and I spoke a lot for high school. I aimed towards doing that, but still kept my qualifications just in case I decided to go elsewhere. But I've always focused around engineering, so it's fate I'd end up at the REME. And I did go for it at one point, but then I got through the at this 2021 at this point. I got through. I done all the tests that need to be done. And I got my date to start. And then I decided, because I quite like hill climbing and stuff like that, cycling, I was really big into it. And I was up Ben Nevis, had a fall, injured myself quite badly, about a week before I had to I was starting up. Instead of resting like a normal person should have, I kept cycling and doing stuff like that. Injured myself to the point when I started basic, I end up showing up injured. So I kept going to the point where I had to go, look, we're going to have to send you back. But they were really nice with the whole process. They were like, we can see you're still passionate about it, so just go home, get better, and then rejoin. So I did that. I went back. It took about a year getting better. I did work in between as a maintenance engineer. So I kept working as an engineer, kept the same mindset, doing welding, stuff like that. And then I went back through the process and rejoined again. And I met my wife during that time. Because I originally joined as a single man, and then when I went back, and then I met my wife, and then I straight told her, I was like, I want to join the army, this is the career I want. Do you want to be with me on it? She was like, yeah. So
awesome.
Oh, that's lovely. And I think that's a lot, because if people with relationships and things like that, because we've got, young people who, they might have their relationships they have at school, but like a lot of time when I'm speaking to people, I don't know if you get the same, they're thinking about their future, they're thinking about the life that they want. And I don't know if it's more a girl thing. I have had more girls say it to me about how I want a family, I want to be married, I want this, that, and the next thing. I have had some guys say that to me as well, but it's about that, if you're going to go into this different to not normal, but like civilian life, then you have to be prepared for what that means. Like, I'm from a forces family. My dad was in the RAF. I was born in RAF Akrotiri, Cyprus. So, you're moving different places. There's lots going on, but it's about being aware of that when you go into a relationship that, right, this is what I'm going to do. Are you on board?
Yeah, it's really good for us because we have just recently moved into our military martial accommodation. So we now live together.
Oh, lovely.
Which she's from a different country. She's from Switzerland.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of good. We were kind of a bit used to the long distance already. Yeah. But the way the army is now, because probably didn't get much time going home a long time ago, I heard. But now throughout training, they do give you a bit more time to go home. So I did have a long weekend during my basic training. It allowed me to go home. Yeah. And then it was about every 3 months during the year-long training I went from, I was allowed to go back home for like a week, and I'd go see my now wife and stuff like that. So
I suppose it's different as well now, even like with like your being able to communicate more, like when when I was born, like it was there was phones when I was born, but like I'm not that old, but like it wasn't like social media and things like that. There was dial-up internet, but I think it's like it is different, that sort of being in terms of being able to kind of keep in contact with home and stuff as well, differently.
And it's quite like, obviously you mentioned about family being in it, and you're same with yourself and friends. Like, I imagine that's very common with the army, where like because you have the insider knowledge and like obviously what they did, and like how do you find, like, how is it quite common, like for you guys, like, is a lot of your peers also had family members that were in the army?
Yeah, I'd say probably 80%, way more than that isn't. Very rarely do you, like, oh, how did you get in there? And he's like, oh, I'm the first in like the bloodline sort of thing. It's always either fathers, brothers, like mothers or grandparents, and it's almost strange not to have like And obviously you get there's a few, but it tends to go more the other way.
A lot of respect for those sort of people though, to actually just go in and be the first of the first. I had my dad always telling me about what it was like, and I came in a bit prepared. But to just go in absolutely be the first of the family, that takes a lot.
It's strange though, isn't it? Because it's not like the army don't promote in a really kind of positive way. There's plenty of opportunities to speak to army careers and people who have been through the process to understand. Like, I mean, there's not many. I know the army's not a company per se, but if you think of it as a company, the amount of opportunities that you could do is like, it really is kind of endless. So there's plenty out there for people, but obviously it's hard to get through that first step of realising that actually, it's a skill for life, and it's a good working environment.
And I think even like the sort of development opportunities, like even like yourself when you're speaking about you're doing your 2, 3. So you're going between these different stages, and there's this very clear progression. And same with yourself, like you go this, you do your amount of time doing this, and then this, and there's quite good solid progressions where like how often do you see that in different careers where it's like you'd finish this and you've done this, you move on to the next thing. It's quite a good thing to work towards.
On that as well, we do have like an apprentice. The person who runs your apprenticeship, he comes and visits. Like, I've got a visit in February, and he comes along and keeps track of what you've been doing. Gives me more work. So like when I'm in my spare time, he allows me to keep up with stuff like health and safety. He'll like, write stuff about this. I'll send it to him, and he'll come talk to me and say like, so you're doing this, you're progressing, you're working. It's nice to have that, because they keep you on that path.
Like you mentioned apprenticeships though, so obviously the army do apprenticeships of like what is that what does that look like then? If somebody was like to apply for an apprenticeship within the army, what does it look like?
So it's not really apply for an apprenticeship as such. So you apply to join you apply to join British Army, but then you'll go through your training, and then I think it's at week 6 then, or week 6 or 8 off the top of my head, then you then decide, right, what cap badge do you want to join? Okay. Obviously you should probably have like
a little bit before.
You'll have known by that point, like going in, like I'm going to go like engineers or I'm going to go remare. Obviously if you go infantry, it's a different pipeline altogether, but obviously we'll obviously speak about the apprenticeship side of things, because you get that through our cap badges. So say I wanted to join as a C&J, like captain joiner. You then go into like your apprenticeships scheme, which is kind of like, it's slightly different from Civvy Street, but you'll do your 6 month class 2, 6 month class 1, and then you go and do like your trade test, and that's what gets you like your qualification.
Right,
so that could take anything from like obviously 6 months up until like probably 2 years, maybe 3 years, but you're within your right to like turn the second course down, and you can do it like further on. Your first part, your class 2, it comes through, you're doing that, you're doing it. You don't have a kind of excuse. The second one, like you can say no to it at that given time, because maybe you've got a deployment coming up, or your squadron's in like a good training pipeline, and you want to do that, so you can say like no, but obviously you have to come back and do it to be fully trained in said trade, whatever trade you are. So it could take anything from maybe like a year and a half to up to 3, maybe 4 years, just depending on how it kind of works in with like your regiment's like forecast of events.
Brilliant. And that's what you're talking about like constantly learning.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a process, but you're getting paid for it. Which is a bonus,
and I think even going in, that's what you're going to be doing. You're not joining the army thinking that you know how to do any of these things. You're learning it all on the go. In terms of, because obviously it is very different to your sort of civilian life and things like that work-life balance sort of thing. Like, what would you say, like, what are your things that you kind of like doing outside of your
outside
work?
Of it. So that's quite good. A lot of people think like you're in the army and you never go home. Like, granted, sometimes it's not right, not possible, because if you're from England and you're up at where I'm based, up in Kinloss, like you're talking like to the border. You're talking, you're talking 5-6 hours. Because it's 4 hours for me to get to Glasgow. So but you can go home whenever not whenever you want, but obviously you can go home. You can go home at the weekends if you live close by. Then as long as you're on first parade the next morning, then you can go home. Obviously you get 30 days leave over the course of the year. Usually it kind of works out about 2 weeks at Easter, 2 weeks at Easter, 3 weeks in summer, 2 weeks at Christmas, and then you're left with like a kind of few days, like 4 or 5 days. You can carry stuff over, so it varies like person to person. So you can then take them out with the block leave periods, but again, it's dictated by like how busy the regiment is and like what you have got coming up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And like, so in terms of like sort of like hobbies and things like that, are those kinds of like, are these things that you have time to be getting on with as well?
Yeah,
what are your things?
Especially the best opportunity for it is, I don't know if your areas the same, but for me, when we finish work half day on a Wednesday to basically go do whatever sport you commit to. For me, I go to the rock climbing centre in Dundee. That's what I go for. But there's plenty of stuff available: cycling, you got your running, you got your football, rugby. There's plenty of sports, and if you even have the opportunity, if you are good at a sport or know a sport very well, you can nominate yourself as a sport IC, and that allows other people to come to you and join your sport. The army gives those options. I had a mate recently; he just went and done a rock climbing course with the army, so he's now qualified to instruct rock climbing, so now he leads rock climbing course and that. You're a cyclist, it's coming up. We've got going to Cyprus to do a cycling race at some point, so there's plenty of opportunities to do your hobbies and expand them further, especially in the sporting area.
Definitely.
So I'm into like running, high rocks, weightlifting.
Me too.
Here's a question though. Like, so you do high rocks. At what point does your top come off? Because I feel like every time I've seen a photo of high rocks, Everybody
I'll get
is
selected
straight
for this.
you
You
get
just flung me under the bus.
It's only because I know someone who I grew up with who goes to them all the time.
Yeah.
And every photo I see, it's sweaty.
Yeah.
It looks hard. Looks tough.
It's warm inside. Like obviously the SEC, like the semi-exhibition. Yeah,
It's
I
tough.
have to take it off.
That's fair. No, I just wanted to make
I
sure.
mean,
I
like, I'm not being funny.
You
though.
train hard, so do you know what? Like
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
and
your fitness, I suppose, if you're into fitness, obviously it translates to what you're doing as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Did you feel that were you fitness before kind of the army, or is it
I was. I never used to. But I'll be honest, I never used to be into running before the army. I used to just the classic like arms, chest, forget the rest. Like go to the gym and like.
obviously, on the opposite legs and forget the rest.
But yeah, like me and my mates kind of always like kind of dabbled in it, like. Kinda,
Yeah.
But I've always had an interest in it.
good.
And then I joined, and then obviously during lockdown, I just was like. Obviously ran out of things to do, like
Yeah.
gyms and stuff like that. So I really get into running and bought
Yeah.
myself a road bike, done a lot of cycling. I come back and done my PTI course, which is like the army's version of a PT. So it's like
brilliant.
a physical training instructor.
Brilliant.
So I went down and done a 9-week course down in Aldershot for that, and it gets you like a level 2 in personal training.
Yeah.
In like the high street in terms of like JD Pure Gym, they're kind of qualified at like level 3, level 4.
Right.
So but you can pay out your own money, and you can use a thing called standard learning credits. I mentioned that on the thing, but that's like you get a set amount per year.
Brilliant.
I think it's like £150 per year
Yeah.
that you can go and spend to improve your own kind of skill set,
yeah.
or else if it improves like stuff within the military, but it's more for you. But obviously you try and link it to make it transferable.
Aye.
So you could transfer the qualification over to not transfer it over, but you need
Aye.
to go and do like a level 3, but you can use that money to help pay for the qualification.
I do think as well, though, like I'm not being funny. If I was going, like I go to Pure Gym, and if I had the choice between who was going to PT me, I don't know who I would. I mean, I think I would. Well, I don't. I think I would. I cry quite often when I go to the gym. I'm like, especially if it's like, oh no, I have to lift like 2.
Sorry, whose gym? Oh, you talking about like
The
lifting
gym,
weights?
yes, of course. Yeah. You know all
idea.
about the
No,
gym,
no,
don't you?
No idea. No idea. It's good though, and like again, another kind of promotion of the fact that you get opportunities to
Aye.
do things for yourself,
Yeah.
and through the army, and are supported to do that, which
Definitely.
is great. It's not like you're kind of just. in your
Probably
role
makes
and
sense to
that's it.
mention about adventure training if we're talking about
Yeah.
sports.
Yes.
So you can pay into a thing called the Army Sports Lottery. So it comes out your wage. It's like you can have so many tickets. So I think I pay for 4. So it's like 16 quid comes out my pay each month. So certain times of the year, if it's like in the kind of grey space where there's no much on, they'll be like, oh, there's adventure training up in skiing, like mountain biking, hill climbing, like you name it. The army does it. Like
Brilliant.
people do like winter stuff. So like bobsleigh. There's
Wow.
any sort of, like honestly, I could literally like football, golf. I could name every sport, and
Yeah.
more or
Aye.
less like at some level in the army, it's done. So you'll then pay like a subsidised amount. Maybe like my mate Brothers, he plays hockey at quite a high level in the army, and he's looking at going away to Sri Lanka. For a couple of weeks, and yeah, it's a couple £100, but that's everything paid for. I'm not really out with like running and that. I wouldn't say I'm that great at like other sports, but like if you are good at a sport, then you can then like step away almost from your job role, and you do a lot of sport, and you then travel all over the place representing the army, like and
Yesterday,
try
we did
service.
just on a 10k run in Edinburgh yesterday, so
Yeah.
that was fun. They just come up to you, say, "Yeah, like running." I was like, "Yeah, sure."
It's quite a good selling point, you know, if you are good at sport.
Aye,
Like,
definitely.
what other job can you like go away from for a couple of weeks to go and do sport and get paid for it and go to another country?
I mean, I think
brilliant,
SDS
absolutely.
should start
Should
doing
we?
this. I think we should suggest
We'll start
it.
be the front runners for
to
that.
be
Can you do
fair, to be fair, like my work. So I'm in the Borders team. So there's 4 of us doing the relay marathon in May for the Edinburgh Marathon. So we're like.
So would you run a certain amount then?
Aye,
They
so
run, or
I think I'm doing the 5 mile-ish one, but I've done a full marathon. I would never do it again. It was awful. But so we're doing it together as a team to like do fundraising and stuff. But it's like I think it can be encouraged, but not in that same way. Like, you know, we're doing that in our own time. We'll go out on our lunch breaks for a run and things like that. But like, it's not the same as it's a part of your job sort of thing. So that's amazing. That's a
Sounds so good.
Good thing,
It's really good.
definitely.
So much good stuff. But obviously, the reality is it's tough. And you mentioned at the start as well, like, you know, when you do come in kind of at the ground level and you're starting to learn your trade, if you like, or your role, it is obviously structure. And so like, what kind of I guess tips and stuff would you give like to people who maybe want to transition into this and to be successful? Because I imagine the army will probably have some sort of dropout rate because people maybe do find it tough and maybe you know, maybe they had an understanding. But so what kind of tips would you give to people about like if they were successful in making it into the army?
So I feel like you need to like actually like know what you're signing up for to start, because like at the end of the day it's no holiday camp. You're signing up to be a soldier at the end of the day. So like the harsh reality is that potentially some point in your life then you may deploy on operations to go and fight wars for the United Kingdom. So that's the harsh reality of it. Some people, I think, forget what they sign up for. They come in with maybe the wrong attitude. But like, do your research to start with. Make sure you turn up. But you don't need to turn up and be like Usain Bolt and be like the fittest person ever, because the training's progressive as you go. So like, just make sure you're like at a reasonable like fitness standard. Look at the fitness requirements to sign up and what they are. They're all on like the Army's website, and then each cap badge has got its own different entry standards. So like whatever you want to do, go and research it first so you know, so you're not going to get shocked when you turn up. And then just, you know, like just kind of go with it. Like the lads that are at the training regiments are like the best of the army can like offer, and they're there. They're there for a reason, and like they get Joe Bloggs off the street who doesn't know anything about anything in terms of the military, and they bring them within 15 weeks to be, you know, a trained soldier. Like granted, trained soldier at the lowest level because you've got no experience, but then that gets built up once you get to regiment, and you know, you go on exercises. You're constantly getting trained to then sharpen and hone your skills to then go and do whatever you need to do within your cap badge.
It's good advice about the research aspect, definitely. And like you say there, that remember that the bigger picture ultimately, you know, there can be times where you get called away and you get and that could take weeks and months and stuff like that. So it's good to see that. And like, what about yourself as well? Is that kind of similar in your respect?
Well, most thing I would say is a mental game, most of it. As long as you can keep yourself mentally sound, then you can honestly get through anything, because everything is a goal, and if you get to that goal and reach that goal, you feel great about it. Like one of my greatest feelings was passing out with all the guys who worked hard together. Passed through that phase 2. We passed through that together. It was wonderful to see that. And now that I've got to that, quite a good balance I quite like, and now I can do my job. I come back home and now I get to see my wife, and it's everything I always dreamed of having. Now I have our house and I get to see each other, and I just feel happy with the career I chose. And if you just look forward to that throughout all your way up, and then you'll get through it.
That's so good. No, that's great.
That's it. And thinking about like we all do that when you're going through things, when you're studying to do absolutely anything, when you're starting a new job, you're aiming towards something. And I think having that picture of what you want your life to be, that can really help you to focus and get through these sorts of things that are tricky.
Have you got any kind of other goals within the army that you want to get to for yourselves in terms of your own progression or ambitions?
I mean, for me, my next rank up would be sergeant. So that's my kind of goal coming. My next goal coming up. But I think I'll be in it for the long haul. So like further down the line, hopefully like sergeant major eventually at some point.
Awesome.
But yeah,
that's good. I take it like see that process, right, in terms of starting to move up into those kind of roles and stuff like that. Is that just like all my family are police, so I've got a bit of an understanding, but is that quite a hard process to take the next step, or is it?
So like at corporal, that's the kind of the highest point as a junior. So junior NCO is a junior non-commissioned officer. At that point, once you move up to sergeant, you then go to like a senior NCO, which is senior non-commissioned officer, and then you'd move up like corporal, sergeant, staff sergeant, sergeant major. But then you're looking at that time, then you're looking into 14, 15, like a long career. So it's obviously you've got a lot of competition and things like that to then progress. So it's not just a case of I'm going to go and
that's
see that. But like the higher you go up the ranks, the competition gets harder because there's less of the ranks. At our level, like privates, craftsmen, sappers, like lance corporals, there are a lot more of us. But then as you keep going up the ladder, it kind of then you get to like RSM, which is like the senior soldier on camp, which is the regimental sergeant major, and if you get to that, it's like the top kind of couple percent. So that's, if you got to that, you've had an extremely good career.
It's brilliant.
Amazing.
I mean, so it can be a really like full on.
Yeah.
Right. To be fair, did you mention 65 though? Is that what it is now?
That's to do with the reserves. That's
okay.
different. Yeah.
That's a long time.
I know. That's it, definitely.
22-year service, I think you can do.
22.
Yeah, you can sign on for like
Good luck.
late entry, and then you can then go and so if you get to RSM, you could commission, and then you could then go over and then go down and be an officer, like a late entry officer, and then you can extend further. And I think, don't quote me on it, but I think you can be something like 32 years.
Wow, jeez, oh.
I think I quite like the fact that there's set rules. Like I quite like the idea of
plenty of rules.
well, I don't like them that much, but like I like that, you know, that idea of being like, this is the amount of years and this is what you can do and this is what you can work up towards. I think that can be really like structured and quite a nice feeling, because you know there's so much of life that is not structured, so it can be quite nice to have something that you're like, this is what I do and that's what I'm working towards. I think that can be quite a positive thing, especially for some people. Some people might not like it, but you know, they wouldn't be going.
It works well for me. I did join for the structure, because I like that. I like showing up and kind of knowing kind of what to do, and you're not just floating around kind of wondering what's going on.
Definitely. With all that kind of in mind, like, have you got like best part, worst part of the job? Like when we're speaking to people, like they'll be imagining all the best parts, sort of thing. So what, like, you know, what would you say is the best part of being a soldier?
So for me, so far, it's probably like deploying on like operations. So August 2013, my old squadron at 3-7, we deployed to Kosovo on Ops Sandrock, and basically it was just going and supporting like NATO forces in Kosovo, just doing a lot of patrol on the ministry boundary lines, helping Kosovo as a nation as they're part of NATO. Just because they're quite a small country, so the NATO help them out. Obviously, I'm not going to get too political on that, of course. But like, that's a broad brush of kind of what we've done. But then the best part about that is, like, at the end of the day, you sign up to go and deploy on operations and get medals. That was a medallic tour, and that was my first medal. So that, for me, in my career at the moment, is the proudest part of my career. But you're going to be like your best mates, and like you're all living away from home. Like when we went there in August, it was roasting. It was brilliant, and obviously. We stayed out longer than we were meant to for reasons that obviously but then it's like you're away for 4 months, and like everyone's in the same boat. You're away from family, kids, wives, you know, partners, misses, boyfriends, whatever, and you're just there as a team, like working a small team. It
seems like consistent though, doesn't it? Like the community you have in the army,
and like
really strong.
The laughs and like banter and that, like. It's just it's brilliant.
Especially if some of them are Scottish, because our band
that's what gets you through. Like, cause, you know, you'll be like loving it one week, and then the next week you'll be like down in dumps because you've missed like your missus' birthday, or you've had that, like, family. People miss family bereavements. People miss birthdays, and it can be, you know, it can be pretty harsh at times. So the lads get you through, and that's, you know, that's for me, that's like. Brilliant. The highlight so far, deploying on like operations or like big exercises, and like doing the job you're trying to do day in, day out, and like that's like the sense. That's where my like sense of pride comes from, definitely.
So good.
And what about yourself? Like best, worst part?
So, like for me, always with everything in the wider scale, it's always the people of the army. Absolutely love the people. If I can shrink it down to like my role specifically, I love working in a workshop with other people with the engineer mindset, because I love when a problem comes across that no matter what your experience, you may not know. So it's bouncing off each other ideas and just trying to come up with a solution to fix things. Like recently I took apart an underslung grenade launcher, and I was like, okay, I can't remember to put this back together, and I asked the class 1, because he's meant to be really experienced, and he was like, I've not done it in years, I don't really know. So I had to just sit there with a couple of my guys and just figure out to do it step by step, and once it was together, it's a wonderful feeling.
I know, I don't imagine there's any YouTube tutorials on how to put grenade launcher.
I found that quite difficult, my job sometimes, when I have to write about something and I can't remember how to do it, I'm like, I can't just Google it to do it.
It's so good though, like,
for old workbooks.
It's so good to hear though, because like your job particularly sounds like a lot of people's like dream idea, or you get to hold weapons and then you get to fix them and change them and do things, and to be fair, you're the first person I've ever spoken to who's done it, which is quite exciting for me as a young guy. But no, but it's a fact that
a young guy. guy, did you just say?
No. In context, I didn't mean I'm a young guy now. As when I was a young guy.
Yeah, of course.
Way past, we'll talk about G-Star Raw, they don't even exist anymore. I'm way past being young.
Don't bring me into this.
God, sorry. No, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I think some people have, like, where your hobby or your interest can sometimes align with where your career goes, and the army has got so many different.
And that's what it is for me, because this was actually, when I said about it when I was young, I was 12 and I wanted to join the army. My dream job was to be an armourer, so I am currently doing my dream job. Right. So
amazing.
I'm very happy about it. And so I work with all ages as well. Like one of my youngest guys, and he was my roommate in phase 2, and he's come up to my unit with me, so I know him very well. He's 19 now, so yeah, he's a young man, he's doing it. And one of my older guys that works with me, he's 30 odd now, so yeah, we've got
so
a big
old.
We've got a big age range there, and we all share that same passion.
That's good.
Armourers have the stereotype. I'm not the guy who likes it, but they love their Warhammer. So in their spare time, they'll meet together and do their Warhammer stuff.
I know, and do you know what I love about this, right?
The engineers aren't like that.
I'm not going
I saw your Warhammer on the way in.
That's actually just a wee shake of the head. I hope they pick up the shake of head. I would leave that in there. As soon as you say Warhammer, it's just jeez.
Like we're all.
Do you know what I love though? It just proves though, right? Different interests, different ideas, like different roles, like but you can
Everyone's
all align.
different,
You can all align, which is amazing.
It was very hard not to read and say, "Oh, what do you do?" Instead of, like, honestly, when I finish work, my wife's making dinner, I'm sitting building Lego. That's what I'm doing in my spare time. Like,
love it. It's so good. Right, obviously we're getting pretty much close to the end now, and we've been really, really interesting for us personally, because I think we've only ever maybe spoke to the army careers in a kind of passing conversations. So it's been good for us to speak properly with people in their roles and what they're doing. But if I was to ask one more question, it would just be, if you were to speak to a young person now, anybody that you know, whether it was friends, family or whatever, and they were kind of coming close to leaving school, ready to take the step to potentially join the army, what kind of advice would you give them, tips or things, would it be get a job, or what kind of things would help them transition quickly or at least understand what's next?
I would say that from the experience of coming out of high school, working a bit of a job, trying to join the army, going back to a normal job, then coming back to the army, I'd say give a bash at a normal civilian job, just so you can have a comparison between the civilian work life and work life in the army. And there's a good chance you're probably going to enjoy the work life in the army much more. Right, okay. Because there's a lot of joy with that. I'd say that.
Awesome.
For me, I would say, like I've mentioned before, like just do a bit of research, like look into it, go to the careers office and things like that, because like you might feel intimidated, but clearly like go in, you know, because it's getting in and speaking to somebody in like military uniform, but there's like civilians that work in there as well, and you know, go in with your family, go in and have a chat. Like there's plenty of stuff online, there's like on YouTube, even on like social media. Each regiment's got their own Instagram pages and that, so if you want to go and have a look to see what they actually do and actually see it for real, but like just don't be like scared of it, because like the people in there are extremely professional at what they do. But again, like there's no harm in like dipping your toe in like a part. You don't have to do it as soon as you come out of school. Like dip your toe in like a part-time job, and then, you know, if you're still passionate about it, then go and apply. You can go to Harrogate as a junior soldier, the Harrogate College in North Yorkshire, and you can go as a junior soldier, and then you then go from there to then into the pipeline. You then go down, if you're an engineer, you then go down to Gibraltar Barracks and go and do your combat engineer training. But yeah, so there's so many like opportunities. If you want to do it young, you can. If you want to do it older, you clearly still can, because I done it in my late 20s.
And I think that's so true as well. Like so many people, it's like they're like, right, I'm going to the army, and then maybe something's happened that's not happened straight away, and sometimes they might go, well, that's it, I can't go now. But actually it's not it. They can still keep going for it. I've got someone I'm working with at the moment who's late 20s, and he's in the pipeline of joining the army at the moment. So he phoned me yesterday that he's got his interview and things like that. So it's not done just because you're so old at 20 odd.
We are getting on, aren't we? We are getting on a bit, and that's sad. But anyway, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. I really appreciate it. That is us at the end of this episode. We genuinely probably could chat about this all day. But we'll talk about the juicy stuff off camera.
Exactly, But no, honestly, thank you so much for coming and taking time out of your schedules to come and see us. So we'll be back next time with some more amazing guests for career stories.